All right, good afternoon, everyone. I will call the May 1st Water, Sewer and Engineering Committee meeting to order. And I'll take a quick attendance. We have Supervisor Aaron Cassidy Dorian, Comptroller Kara Parks, Cameron Stepule, Dan Bulkey, Matt Yetto, and Debbie Harris. And we will start with a motion to approve the committee meeting minutes from the April meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any changes or amendments that need to be made? All those in favor of accepting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
They are approved. Does anybody have a report for Elena?
No, we might want to just pause on that.
Looks like one resolution for a fence easement agreement.
I don't know
Yeah.
what she has for the water contract, do you?
Nothing, it's just to keep things
Okay.
fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, so the easement agreement is a standard deal where it's someone wants to put a fence in, one of the water and it's actually our sewer and storm water easement. She already has all the information too, right?
Yeah.
So be good for the meeting.
So just standard.
Yeah, yep.
Matt, did you?
I have one person that would like to come work for us as a summer worker in the engineering office. Trying to put a bit of field mapping this summer, so he would be very useful. It was Joe Bafora to help Cameron out with doing some field work, opening manholes and doing some of the physical labor to go along with the survey work. Spoke with him and everything sounds like we work out for everybody.
Usually that's just for the summer.
Just summer, yeah, he's a college student. Next thing is water and sewer maintenance. Just an update on the River Road water main. The design is mostly done. We're just still looking for funding sources. We may have some movement on that. Hopefully have something to report next month.
Past New York, maybe?
Hydrant flushing, we're just continuing to work through the zones. That the map is available on the town website, so people know which zone we're working in each week. That should be done in the next few weeks. That part of the season work week before we get into other road work and other seasonal work. With the working alongside with the highway department and the roads we have. Have a student worker that wants to return to paint fire hydrants for us. So we have worked with the town for at least about three summers. So she's very easy to bring on board, knows exactly what she has to do and put in hydrants and painted. And then a resolution to currently appoint a maintenance worker, Evan Barlow, water crew, water sewer crew with us. And for quite a while, we're happy with him. He's approaching the end of the probationary period, like appoint him permanently. Utility billing, we're still working with Brett Pellis on the water sewer rate project. We requested some additional information, which I gave them some more maps to provide to them.
Yeah, well, I forgot what else they were asking for. They gave us some preliminary information that was helpful. And just, we were kind of talking through the feasibility of getting some of these capital projects done without borrowing money, which I don't think it is feasible to get through most of them. So we're trying to find the most responsible way to plan, have capital planning and try to borrow money so to ease the rate increase that is inevitable over the next 50 years.
Okay. Just some
Sorry, Matt, they haven't provided any information yet, though. I mean, it's way too soon, like what rates would be, but
Some ranges of percentages that if you didn't borrow money to do some of these capital projects or got grant money or whatever, they were sort of like, if you want to do it the way that we had initially wanted to do it, here are the ranges of what we would need to increase rates by over 5 years. I think that's all they gave us.
so it's gonna be a gradual, like, increments over several years.
It's kind of, we have to decide the way we want to allocate it. We've had some residents that have come in and voiced concerns over folks with fixed income, senior citizens that have like, they're limited in what they're going to have in 10 years, So we can decide as a community whether or not we want to help subsidize those folks. I think we've already made a kind of general decision about our small commercial and benevolent associations. We definitely want to fix their base rate. But then what does that mean for the rate per gallon past the base rate for the larger corporate accounts? So once he gets all of this information, we'll be able to make decisions because he's kind of like running a bunch of different scenarios for us. And the information has been great. I think they're really good at, I imagine all municipalities are like this. We're kind of just throwing all kinds of weird stuff at them and they're very good at organizing it. I don't know how, but they can make all of our craziness into these beautiful spreadsheets. So we'll have a lot to present and a lot of information to give to residents.
Did they also compare it to other municipalities?
I don't know that, not at this phase. I think that's something we could absolutely have them do because they do work with a lot of municipalities in the area.
I
So,
mean, did you guys, and I don't know, like, did you guys do that before you did the first round of?
well, yeah, but it's so weird because everybody kind of does it a little bit differently, like flat fees versus base rates versus no base rates and just per gallon. It's like everybody's kind of all over the place. So you could take like a similar assessed house and say, okay, here's the house and here's how much it's worth. And this is how much water this is what they're being charged versus being charged here. But then you don't know how many people live there. And then it's like, how old are their toilets? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's difficult. It's like apples and oranges. There's so many variables. So we're going to try to pick it apart as best we can.
Just a reminder that the utility bills for the spring are out right now, and they are due on the 30th of May. Next two items are just the typical corporate utility reconciliation for the fourth quarter of 2024, then also the warrant for the corporate utility bills for the first quarter of 2025. Our resolutions. This is an update of the wastewater plant for the organic waste program. We still are receiving 2 trucks daily from Chobani, then various number of trucks from the septic haulers bringing grease trap waste. Dan and I and also Keith visited 2. You guys visited 2. I visited 1. So nearby wastewater treatment plants, seeing what they're doing because they had similar projects that we did a few years ago, and they did some more recently. So they had some slight differences to our projects. So it was good to see them, talk to the operators, talk to the managers of the plants. We got some good information. Move forward with our scrubber modifications that we want to do for the hydrogen sulfide gas. And we got some good contact information for testing companies to test our gas to make sure that we're using the proper treatment for the gas so we don't go through more plumbing issues. The very unique thing though is of all the places we visited and talked to, they have not had issues with their piping like we have. Everyone just seems to think it's a very unique situation. They can't understand why we're having issues. So hopefully some additional testing and changing our media too, because we're using a unique compared to some of the other plants. So something to keep in mind, yeah. Sort of related to that, the next item is purchasing gas testing equipment. When they did the upgrade, they did not provide us with the equipment that we need to do spot checks of the gas so that we know that the scrubber is working correctly. That's something we want to have on hand so that we can do regular checks and make sure things are working properly so that we don't end up having damage to our piping in the future. I know we looked at a couple models. The one that we had a demo last week from is the unit that was recommended to us by Department of Electricity and the ESG. They're not cheap, but they're pretty sophisticated equipment. That's why they're so expensive. I think it's about $13,000 for the unit. But it would be something that we would use regularly store here at Town Hall and we'll bring down there.
How long do they typically last? They-
I got a sense of it, the amount we would be using it quite a while. They go out for calibration once a year so that they're kept in good condition, but it's not something that I think that we be replacing a lot because it's stored in a nice safe location that would be exposed to the elements.
And then it might prevent any breaks in those, the piping that. was
Yes.
Be able to know what the hydrogen sulfide levels are past the scrubber,
Got it.
and that would help us. to
So they identify the problem.
That's,
Yes,
yeah, that's the
part
problem
of
that
it
would,
too.
that helps us to identify the problem.
I mean, $13,000 for the equipment, but it's gonna save us a lot in repairs over the years.
$30,000 in pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty every time. there's a pipe, so. And then that's fixing piping. If that problem were to persist, we could potentially damage more expensive equipment downstream as well, boilers and the compressors, things like that. So it's good preventative maintenance. Let's see. Sludge dryer evaluation, AIT company that we had a resolution end of last year is finally able to come up with the evaluation of our dryer. Looks like next week they'll be here, but based on their recommendations, I may have some repairs, modifications I'd like to do to the dryer. Keep that going longer.
We already had a resolution to approve the actual evaluation, right?
Yes, yeah, it's been.
So this resolution just be for repairs that they
Any,
recommend.
yeah, any repairs that they would recommend. And then the next item down is secondary clarifier skirt repair. Over the winter, we had when we had the tank clarifier drained for repair that we had gearbox that we fixed. It was offline for the winter. Ice formed in the bottom and it floated and damaged the fiberglass skirt around it. We weren't able to do a full evaluation of it until everything melted and we were able to do a thorough inspection of it. And it looks like, I think it was 14 sections of the skirting need to be replaced. That's gonna be about $30,000 for the materials. And I've spoken to a contractor already, and I've got a quote for $17,000 roughly to do the work. So what I was hoping to do was do a public hearing for the repair of the skirt of the clarifier and the dryer, and potentially the scrubber as well, as soon as we know cost will be, and use the repair reserve that we have available in sort of 6 for that.
So this would be. D would be the public hearing. For the
I
repair.
would say it would be all 3 of those rolled into one public hearing to get the approval to have the funds available, and then do a secondary resolution for each one to award contracts for the work.
B, C, and D? Or
Uh,
C, and D?
Oh, no, BC. BC,
Yeah.
right?
B,
B, C, and
C, and D, yes.
So we have to have a public hearing
To
for
use the
authorization to
repair
use the repair
Repair
plans.
funds,
Is that, and then. So we had a resolution for that this month. Then we had public hearing next month. We could do a resolution next month also to authorize the actual expenditures.
Okay.
I'd like to have this,
Yesterday?
sooner I fix the dryer, or sooner we start saving money on hauling.
Okay,
But I don't, we can do without the one clarifier
because
for
it
some
would be
time, but you don't want to go too
Can we
long.
use money for another account and then replenish it with the, after the public hearing, if it's authorized, replenish it with repair reserves? Because I mean, otherwise we're looking at 2 months out to do this.
do.
Except it's an emergency, but if it's.
If it's an emergency, you have to pay back the money to
Right.
the reserve in a period. Yeah,
What you were saying, that we would take it from
We
somewhere
give
else.
someone else to do the work now, and then once the public hearing authorizes the release of those funds, punish it using that.
I mean, that's whether you
But if it's not an
determine it an
emergency, yeah.
emergency.
I think we can just do a quick special meeting to call for a public hearing for,
At this month.
and then do the hearing and the resolutions. That's clean.
Could we do a special meeting next Tuesday after the agenda meeting, just to call for public hearing?
I think so, as long as Elena's okay with it. I mean, that would be the quickest.
And that would save a whole month with.
We have a couple other public hearings that we're calling for, in other committee meetings too, so we'll. This might be nice to sort of
So
separate
do a
this.
special meeting, just call all the public hearings.
Hopefully they have. Special.
Special meeting exchange for executive session, Tyler.
Oh.
Yes, I'll take the same time.
What's the total for the three?
I have a total for the skirt, but I do not have a price for the media. We have a price of 30,000 for the media. That was with, not including any labor to do it.
So we're talking just under $100,000 for all three. That sound about right?
The testing, the digester gas, that you said 13,000?
That's not a
That's not a
repair.
repair.
That's
It's an addition.
It's purchase. Piece of equipment.
So that's
Can
separate
we,
then.
we would have to do it separately.
Skirt, 30 and then 17.
So really it's just C and D,
Yes.
because B would have to be a separate resolution. We gotta pull that out of somewhere.
So the public hearing would only be C and D.
Well, I guess I didn't mention the scrubber on here though. If we were able to get a price with scrubber media, which would be a repair on the scrubber.
All right, let's
That would
see
be
how quickly we can get
Yeah.
that done and if we can get a good price and package it all
We
together.
have a price for media to replace now. We just want to make sure that it's the right one. It's 30,000 for that, yeah.
But always would need that until whatever latest deadline is for resolutions at the end of the month. We can,
So here's the other thing
Right,
that's sort of
right,
great
right.
is that our finance meeting is not next week, it's the week after.
Right.
This is a weird month
Oh,
because
that's right.
today's the
today's the
first.
first,
Yeah,
so we still have a week and a half.
yeah, so we have some time if we
Yeah.
want to try to get stuff together.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Thank you. The next one is to permanently appoint a plant trainee. Mike Rudy has reached the end of his probationary period. Fortunately, he's going to be leaving in the summer. He's moving south. His family's building a house in Delaware. So I don't know, I guess we still do the resolution to make him permanent and then accept this 2-week notice in a month or so.
Maybe I'll decide not to go.
I think it's family.
They broke
removed,
they broke
right?
ground. They
They already built their house up
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
I think his father-in-law was working at the high school, right? Is that the same?
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kids loved him, they were so sad. when
so it's water treatment plant. I've had request for proposals out right now, from engineering companies to do corrosion control testing at the water plant. We add orthopolyphosphate, polyorthophosphate to our water corrosion control. We've done coupon tests in the past out in the system, which is basically inserting a piece of metal, known weight. You let it sit in the system for 4 months or so, and then you pull it back and you weigh it again, and you see how much material has been lost. We've done that out in the system. We haven't done it at the water plant since I've been here. I know that for a fact. But we base our dosing of the orthopolyphosphate on what the city does because we have this shared supply. I think it's the right chemical to use. I just think it wouldn't hurt to do a small pilot test down there to confirm the optimal dosing. See if we can get better corrosion control closer to the plant. And because we know at the extremes everything is good. We haven't had any issues as far as lead and copper testing within any of the homes, but it's just something that I would like to do, and we haven't done that in quite a while. So I would put proposals off of that. I'll get the responses back next week. And I have another proposal from the company that we buy our chemical from, it's environmental, do additional coupon tests out on the system again, like we've done, I think, last time. Just as a way to make sure everything's working at best performance. Jordan Ronan worked at the water plant, I believe a total of 2 days last year. By the time we got through all the paperwork, we hired him as summer help. He ended up having to go back to school. So he was really well received when he was down there. I was very happy with him. I was asked by the guys at the plant to bring him back. So we're running the paperwork ahead of time. So when he's available and the school's over, he can here work for us, helping out at the water plant. And I looked at the there and we looked at the budget and there's money for a student worker down at the water plant. Would help with mowing, there's some painting that we want to do in some of the buildings, some of the things that they're not having water plant operator spending their time on, having a college student. It's very cost effective as well. So recycling center, the landfill, I know that now that it's the transfer station is closed, we're looking to do some additional recycling events for electronics. I know we spoke about it. I don't think we never pinned down any dates.
We were gonna try to do 3. We wanted to do one kind of toward beginning of summer, one either late summer, early fall, and then one before it gets too snowy cold.
June, August, October, maybe.
Something, yeah, something like that.
Would
Um,
we be better off doing one though? I mean, that's only spacing out a couple months. I mean, maybe for this year that's good, but then next year looking at like maybe like spring, summer, fall. So it's a few spaced out.
yeah. I
Like
do.
March or April,
I mean,
August.
I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but I have like a collection. You know what I mean? Like just,
My shred box is getting.
yeah. Yeah.
So we're working on to find shred companies. The company that we worked with all these years, they more than double, I think more than double the price. So I reached out to 3 or 4 other ones that they haven't responded yet. Try to see if we can get some other companies to come in and do the shredding.
Yeah.
So I know people love that too.
Yeah.
So,
And I think if we had the shred truck and all the recycling events, it would get used. I mean, it's expensive.
oh yeah.
Even if we did it once or twice a year instead of once.
Yeah, I think it
It
used
would
to
be
be
used.
500 for like, as far as I can remember, then it went up to 600 and they cut it by an hour.
It's a flat fee.
Flat fee to have the truck in for because we end up filling the truck usually. But this year they went up to 1,200 for 3 hours. And that was a deal that they gave us.
You'd think it'd be weight based, how much
That's
paper
what I
they
was
leave with.
thinking.
and-
What company was that?
So that was Pro Shred. Yeah.
There's one called 3. I think it's
3.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
emailed
we
them.
would do it by the box, like, cause we would call them in when the court was ready to purge. And we would all like bring out they would charge us by the box.
Hmm.
So they might be a good option too.
I emailed them. I'll try it.
Okay,
But
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to have, like, a lot of those companies have like those cardboard garbage cans almost. If we could get those ahead of time. And just, we don't even need the truck, we had all those cardboard boxes.
It's true. How
they
much?
just
I've
come on site, basically they dump them in, shred them there, and then they
Oh,
just
they do.
drive off.
So that's what the banks do. The bank, like if you go into.
Yeah, like Sunmark does it,
or-
yeah.
Yeah, Broadview, they have the bin and just, if you're at the bank, you can throw in your stuff.
But I guess people are gonna wonder, because a lot of people like to stay there and watch there. Yeah.
I think, oh, that's true.
I like to watch it too. I think we should have the months ago. I took a couple pictures of this week.
There's also some that do it in like it looks like your regular garbage can that has a lock on.
Mhm.
Use that.
And I think the shred company just has the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like our thing in the basement.
We could tell people come back to 1 o'clock and watch them shred it.
That's where to get a couple of different options, I guess, and we'll just kind of, we can, when we're talking to the vendors, talk through what would
If
work.
that's an option, that'd be so much cheaper, like they could drop the cans off the day before. And then just come pick them up there here for an hour.
Be easier for us, because then we wouldn't need as many volunteers to do the events, because it would just be here.
Strap your stuff in the garbage can and
Okay, well, let's see what the difference in price is.
And the transfer station punch card refunds will be checks
They're gonna do, yeah,
June 6th.
they're gonna. All, because we have to make, Heather has to put in a vendor number for each one of them. And then, they tried to give me access to the, GL code, like the
Put
line,
everything in.
but it won't work. So they have to, like
Yeah.
Heather's gonna wind up having to put them in for me too. And then, we'll just do one check run with them. They said on June sixth, they would get mailed out.
And that's the only one we're gonna do.
And then,
Yes.
because they have up until May 30th to,
Should we put an email last?
We have it, so I put it in the newsletter, which will go out, and then, we'll say it again at the meeting. It didn't pass until the last meeting, so we wanted to make sure. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure how much was floating around out there.
I think right, last week we had, boom, I had like 8 or 9 people
Yeah.
come. This week I've only had 2 people. But I think if you put it out there, people will be like, oh.
Yeah, and then it'll, at least so they don't.
And I made a
miss it.
form for
Is that
it,
just
so
like-
it's just,
The deadline is well known.
yeah.
Just people don't come to us in August and say, oh, wait, I don't spend money.
I'll be like, so sorry.
I appreciate you doing that for me, and get it all organized too.
Going back to the recycling event, could we just pick a date now and plan for it? So I thought we've been talking about it for a while and haven't.
We gotta call and see what that has, do we have to
The
schedule?
electronic site, we provide the container and then they can pick it up when we're ready. But for the shredding, that's what we have to pin down. Once we get a price, then we have to find out when they're available. But I wasn't ready to spend $1,200.
Yeah, no, that seems like a lot.
But it's free, so we
Yeah.
could just pick it and then that they're available to come on whatever date, if we decide to do it that way. Then if we get all of them.
I don't know, we just also try to get all these guys, get some quotes and if we pin down like last Saturday in June or, shoot for that date and see who's available that day and they're gonna charge.
But I'll make some calls so they can send emails out to everybody.
Okay.
What other, do we have anything else going on here in June? You know,
Uh,
farmers market doesn't start till July, right?
I don't know. So that would be Thursdays.
I just feel like that would be such a good event to do in conjunction with another event here.
That would be Saturday after school too, which is like everybody's working.
That's true.
That's in your backpack, your broken headphones and your all of that stuff, so it'd be helpful to have it then.
And once you get too far into the summer, no one's gonna be around or
Yeah.
shoot for 4th of July for sure.
Good.
See what the company's around another month.
So that would be June 28th as like a tentative date. We'll just make sure that there's nothing else going on, not just with us, but like, townwide, so there's no distraction. Or availability of space. We could probably do it here though, right? Or do you want to
You
do
have to,
it?
because if we give them that Saturday summer,
Then we
baseball,
baseball. Yeah. It'll be a. I wanna put it in days. You're like skin of our teeth with that fencing. You know what I mean? It's like all falling down
At the baseball fields,
at the transfer station. Look at the rack.
take it down there.
Yeah.
take it down back.
Okay, great.
Think we have anything else? Just out of curiosity, I meant to check before, are all the minutes from that we approved last month on the website?
Yes.
Did we go into YouTube? I got the password, so I can go in and fix the playlists in there too, and then we can post the playlist that's on there, so you'll have the minutes and the playlist there. That'll be
The water and sewer playlist?
Yeah, for all the committees. I don't know why we didn't do it that way before, but
Yeah, I think each committee has their own like individual.
they do.
Hold on.
But somehow, I think when we had the transition last year, some of those just didn't get filed in the correct
Yeah.
folder. So we just have to move them. That's it.
Yeah, because I tried to find them. I couldn't find myself.
Yeah, you have to actually like Google the specific date of the committee meeting and then it'll pop up and you're like, where does this live? Like,
Are we doing our next meeting early next? We're doing it this month.
I originally had it on, it was the 5th, but then highway said there's the 29th.
I mean,
Yeah,
It looks like there's 5 weeks this month, so it makes sense to me.
weird.
Yeah.
It's-
And yeah, it's fine.
does that work?
Yeah.
You want to do the 29th?
Sure.
That's
One reason we did the 29th for highway was because Bill was out of town the following week. But I don't think there's enough time between everything that we're fine to do it that way if you want.
I think police is on that,
They
on
are.
the 29th.
Oh, did they switch it?
Thought they did. I'll look.
But either
I
way.
was trying to go to your false. If we do our meeting on Thursday, the agenda is that following Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then they can send you that.
Work on stuff.
I agree.
Together.
I agree.
No, I'm sorry, theirs is the 5th.
But PD usually,
They
this,
moved there.
this committee usually has more resolute to do the PD visit. So I agree with the earlier date. It's
Really, 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 really.
Still got 28 days from now until then.
I got mine, thank you. Thank you.
So forgive me, I am gonna race out of here after we close, but we'll be on.
Next meeting can May 29th at 4:30. And I'll take the motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
Good timing. Oh.
It's very good.
Bye.